We next move on to Kriterien zur Fehlerdefinition. So for classifying something as an error, we have certain criteria, and then I have a short description to say how this becomes a error category. So first is Korrektheit, meaning an error is a violation of a language which is being spoken in a Sprachgemeinschaft. Now this becomes regional. So in Bayern you speak Bayerisch. So if you define something as wrong just because you spoke in Bayerisch, then it is considered as wrong. Now the disadvantage of this category is you cannot have a clear definition of German. You can have Bayerisch, that's all. But just because you learn Bayerisch doesn't mean you get to learn German now. This is one problem with this criteria, Korrektheit. Verständlichkeit. When the error creates problem in communication, then it's a understanding problem, then it's an error. This one results in Fehler Fossilisieren, because if you have communicated correctly, then the other person has got your idea but he doesn't correct you. So in such a situation, whatever language errors you have, you will not know that it is an error the way you speak. So that way, this kind of criteria results in Fehler Fossilisieren. And since Korrektur is very selten, the Kommunikation is also the middle point. This is one problem with the Verständlichkeits criteria failure. Then you have Situationsangemessenheit, kulturell. So whenever you are violating some of the verbal or non-verbal things in a particular culture, it is called as Situationsangemessenheit failure. For instance, the symbol for mad looks different in Europe compared to the symbol for mad in India. Okay, so that way you might communicate something else when you are trying to show the same symbol. Then you have Unterrichtsabhängige Situation. You are basically breaking the rules in grammar that are represented in the book and also taught by the teacher. Whatever the teacher considers as error is also an error, and whenever you are violating the norm of the teacher, then it's an error. Then you have Flexibilität and Lerner Bezogenheit. According to this criteria, error is relative. When a student finds it very difficult to learn, then don't mark his errors, leave it aside. The errors will be corrected only based on situation, the person. You can either ignore the error, tolerate the error, or correct the error. So if it's a very good student who is making errors, then you correct him. If it's a very weak student, don't correct him. Such kind of a criteria. Next we move on to Ursachen für Fehler. What are all the causes for failure? First is interference. This is basically influence of the mother tongue or a similar language on the new language. The brain tries to use the known language as a helping agent, and this results in error. Then you have something called as intralinguale error. This is due to the influence of the target language itself. This has lot of categories. First one is Übergeneralisierung. That is basically you are extending a rule towards other areas where that rule doesn't apply. Typical example is plural form. Sach is Sachen and Dach is Dachen. But the real plural form is Dach is Dächer. So here you have extended the Sachen to Dach and you have come up with Dachen, which is wrong. Regularisierung, meaning the exceptions, the Ausnahme, they are also being considered as a part of the regular verb conjugation, and because of that you result in error. So instance, arbeiten, Konjugation, arbeitet, and you put the same for möchte and say möchtet, but in reality möchte, that is the correct conjugation. The third one is Simplifizierung, which is basically making things easy. You are not using the correct conjugated form of the words. Mein Vater reparieren Autos. So in this case you haven't even conjugated the verb reparieren. It should be repariert Autos. But since you want to use the easiest form, you go and say Mein Vater reparieren Autos. These are intralinguale errors which take place in the same language. Then you have Kommunikationsstrategie, using a compensation strategy because you have fear of making errors. So the book or this DTG itself showed a lot of strategies which can be handled for communicating properly. So people, because of the fear of making errors, they use such Mehrsprachigkeitsdidaktik and then try to vermeiden the error, avoid the error. This results in Fossilisierung of the error. Then you have Einfluss von Lernstrategie. You have been taught a particular learn strategy, and what you have done is you have generalized it all over the place. That is the problem when you are applying the same learn strategy to other areas, and this results in error. Elemente des Unterrichts. So when a Grammatikübung, a massive Grammatikübung is basically given in one block, then there is a fair chance that you get confused and you don't know what to use. So that way you are going to have a error possibility. Next one is the book doesn't present all the relevant materials in one. It has got a gemished representation of relevant as well as irrelevant materials. And third one is because of the teacher's way of speaking and teacher style, this can also result in errors. Next one you have Persönliche Faktoren. So basically we are all humans. We are tired, we have stress, we have fear, we forget things. So this is very difficult to identify, but these are also resulting in errors. Then you have Sozio-kulturell Faktoren. These are basically errors which are happening due to cultural interferences. So things that work in north doesn't work in south of India. Things that work in north and south don't work in west or east of India. So, and you have different ways of representing things. Gestik, mimic is also different between these areas. So whenever you are using something from one particular culture on the other particular culture, verbally or non-verbally, then you have a problem in the communication which result in error.
With that, the chapter comes to an end. Please feel free to like, subscribe and comment to the channel. If you have any questions, then contact me via email or put down your comments and I'll be able to reply. Thank you.